Okay, so just before I reassemble or put the motor back and the panel back, that just gives you an idea of what it looks like. Speed controller, that is your power switching IC, battery plug, auto reset trip, your servos, power cable. This is your main power cable going out, and there's the 3 wires going to the motor. Those are the 2 wires to the meter. They are brown and blue, and these two they're polarity conscious, but fortunately the other side matches. On this side, these two actually can plug in. So if you needed to bypass your switch, for example, you could actually run this whole arrangement on the table just by plugging that side into that side, then you wouldn't need a switch. Okay, so let us begin. This is the motor. This is what the motor looks like. Essentially, it's running through a reduction box. It's got a fan at the back of the motor. When it spins, the outside of the motor spins. The magnets are contained on this in this housing. That is what they would call brushless technology, which gives you the huge torque that we're getting out of such small motors. And I say small, it's a big motor, if you talk about brushless motors, but compared to the olden day DC motors, this motor is 3 or 4 times more powerful than a motor that's as big as that. So that's basically it. Okay, let's start with the reinstallation. Okay, so you can see that I still have the screws arranged as they are supposed to go back in. We've got the little ones for the cover. We've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are the same. We've got the thicker ones, the longer, shorter, the motor ones, and the 2 for behind the motor. So without disturbing that too much, place the panel on top like that. Get your bearings with the direction the motor has to go in. So those cables are going to come up on the side of the motor. Okay, so we go down vertically like that, rotate it in underneath, and bring it down, and it will slot into the motor tray. Turn the motor till you have that black mark showing that we made earlier when we disassembled it. There we go. There it is. Okay, so there's my first black mark. Rotate the the drive shaft, bring that around, and you basically have to get that to slide. There we go, slides in like so. Once you've got that done, move these wires to the back slightly, just move them through there for now. And we're now going to put the plate back on the motor plate. So bring that in, vertically down, drop it underneath the rubbers, drop it down, and we're looking for our motor screws, which are these 4. Okay, so you put all 4 screws in. But you don't tighten them fully until you've got all 4 in place. When you're doing the 4th one, you tighten it 3/4 way, or actually 90% of the way. Bring this one down 90%, that one 90%, and that one same. Right, and then on this last one, you go fully tight, and then fully tight. Okay, what you're looking for, just by the way, importantly, if you look very carefully, you see that the side of this motor tray is bonded to the side wall. That stops the motor from moving off or moving forward when there's thrust on the propeller. That's very important. If you're ever looking at this and you notice that that's loose, you need to epoxy that or bond that to the side wall. We actually pour resin and make it quite a wide step, so it actually has to break the resin and move all that. So it gives a lot of strength. How it could break is if you have a very strong impact, let's say from full speed to no speed, you hit a log or you hit the beach at great speed, it is possible that could break. It's like it's momentum. Same as you have in a car, where a car hits a wall and the seat tears right out of the metal brackets. So you're always looking for that. Your motor shouldn't be able to move around. If it could move, then the gap in that coupling would change. And it needs to be just roughly a blade thick or a blade wide, and it mustn't be able to move from that. So just that's one thing you can look at technically, and that's making sure that your motor, once you've tightened this plate in place, that it's not moving on the side wall. All right, so the most difficult job now really of this whole taking it apart and putting that together again is getting these little screws back down behind the gearbox. You will struggle. So although I used the long pokey screwdriver before, now I'm using a little short one with some press stick. Basically get the the screw attached to your screwdriver. You'll see again it's a small flat, and it's of a particular length that when I go down, I can get down and I can get below this lip. If the screwdriver is too long, it catches you here, so you can't get down to the screw hole. So now, once I feel it drop in, I'll tighten it. I won't want to find that position again, so I'll tighten it fully. Right, it's locked in place. Still got my press stick. Find the next one. Exactly the same story. Okay, so basically same story again. We're going down. We are feeling for that little hole. We find it. We drop the screw in, and we don't want to re-find it. So just keep going and tighten the screw fully from there. If it goes in cockeye, skew, then you will struggle. You can take your press stick off for now. Might get a bit of feel. I think I got a feeling it went in a little skew. Okay, so again, once you've got that going, don't stop. Make sure that you haven't cross-fitted, that you are actually getting to the bottom. The screw is getting tighter. Then, if you have this pokey screwdriver with this crank handle, you can double check that it's nice and tight by pushing that in there. Unfortunately, this is a difficult screw. We don't struggle when we put the motor initially because the top of the boat is not joined to the bottom of the boat, so we can see that very easily. And unfortunately, the cutaway here is pretty tight. Okay, so I'm just doing the right-hand side one again, making sure that that's fully tight again, because I did loosen it to slightly shift the gearbox. Very important screws. Must be in and must be tight. And that's why I say it's not a willy-nilly job, quick to do, unfortunately, because of these two screws, but it is doable. Okay, they're nice and tight. Okay, I'm happy. Motor's all back. Now what's important is to get these wires tucked away. So basically you slide the plugs in down next to the gearbox, down and towards the back, using a screwdriver just to, for the first one to go too far, another one to follow, and you push them down below the surface like that. They must be down below the surface, and then you're going to use a block of foam. Right, so basically a piece of foam which has got some adhesive on the one side. Just soften it a little bit, otherwise you'll battle. Peel it off, lick it, make it plenty wet, so that you can work it down the side. Now the sticky side comes on the inside and touches on the gearbox, and of course the spittle makes it easy to slide whilst it's still wet. You can move that forward slightly. There we go. Why is it there now? Arrange those. Take a nice broad scrubber. Be careful not to damage the wires, but you basically want to just move the wires forward slightly. The boat gets narrower at the back. Okay, it's fine. Don't damage the wires. And then bring them in and get them to fold the right way. It must go in the center. Okay, when you're happy like that, you take the original piece of foam that came out and you simply force that in. And that will keep it nicely in place, just like so. That's where you stop. Arrange it nicely, keep them tight, push it up. And that basically is it. Okay, so now if I turn the prop, yes, it's turning smoothly. Gears are engaging. Motor is tight, there's no moving backward and forward. And now we start with the installing of the panel. We'll bring those cables forward. We're missing a pair, that's that one. I think I've put them over here. Alright, so now we start with those. Okay, so turn it around. You can actually, okay, let's see how we do it. Do it this way. Start with your blue wire,